It is a crazy freaking morning for me. WTW, which I had yesterday afternoon as a buy, 1905. It's up $1.50. I, as usual, chose wrong. Not holding overnight, played it safe. In hindsight, yeah, should I have held? Hell yeah. This was the bottom. But more important than my own trade is your trades. And I am getting messages from literally like 2 or 3 dozen people so far. I'm trying to keep track. I'll put them in a video lesson later, of people who did hold overnight. And, they're like, how did you know? So before the market opens, let me just tell you, I didn't know 100%. We had indicators, and really that's all you can look at. My computer is freaking out because I have too many things open, as usual. 1 second. There really should be like a TV camera here. I wish you could see my morning. It is so insane. It's crazy. I can't close anything more than that. I'm sorry, computer. So how did I have indicators? I'm not going to say I was totally right on this one. I'm going to say how were there indicators? What are the indicators that led me to think that this was, a potential bottom? Well, first of all, you need to look at recent runners. First of all, wait, let me see if you guys can hear me before I get into a whole detailed explanation. Can you hear me okay? All right, so, the simple indicator is always, always, always look at recent winners. This was a huge recent winner. Shorts got absolutely crushed the past few months. And, if you remember, I also bought it in the 12s. I had a very good buy alert, and I sold that one way too early. You'll see that my 4.3 million in profits is the tip of the iceberg. I'm on the right track a lot of the time. For whatever reason, for many reasons, I get out too soon. That's okay. Me getting out too soon, a lot of it is just my own, personality, my own probably the lack of being taught by somebody else, not being on the right path for so many years. So this is why I'm so proud when students do better than me, because I think that I kind of consider myself as like Archie Manning in the NFL, where Archie Manning, he was a decent Super Bowl, or not Super Bowl, but decent NFL quarterback, but he never really won the Super Bowls that his two sons have done. So I can show you my experiences, but hopefully you can do better. And judging by, WTW now spiking $1.70 from my buy overnight, and a lot of people holding overnight, you guys can do better. So the biggest indicator is always watch former runners, especially when they're dipping way off their highs. Second indicator, you really need to start thinking about, I had this on my watch list last week as a potential dip buy, and it was doing nothing. So what is different this week? Well, here is another indicator. So the other day we had a big morning spike from 17 to the 19th. It didn't hold it. In fact, it actually made new lows here yesterday. But this little spike is kind of like a shot across the bow, right? It's like, this still has some spikeability left into it. And once I release the final hours of my spikeability DVD, you'll understand this a lot better. But it's very similar. If you flip this chart upside down, what is the number one indicator when a pump and dump starts cracking? You see a little crack at first, and then it comes back to the highs, and then you have a bigger crack. If you look at WNDW, well, it's still not over yet, but you can see here it's dropped now from 4.5 to 3.5 in the past 3 days. This first red day was the indicator that this big spike was going to be over. WTW, this little spike that you can't see, it wasn't a green candle because it didn't finish high. That was the sign that it could bottom. Now the question is, and remember, you don't just buy this spike and hold. You got to see a follow-up spiking potential opportunity. Because if you buy this, even if you buy it on the dip here in the 18s, remember, it makes new lows. So it's not an exact science And I don't want you thinking like, oh, let me just, wait for this spike on hard hit recent winners, and just hold. Because if you do that, you should have theoretically a stop loss at the low here at 1780-ish, and your stop loss would get taken out right here. So you can't just buy randomly. But right here, when it breaks the day high, this is what I love. So it went to 1890, came down, made a new low, and then it breaks the day high. And on top of it breaking the day high into the market close, which is always a good sign, you also have Oprah starting to tweet about her Weight Watchers, deal where she's promoting it. And then you start seeing commercials nonstop on WTW. And so you have three main things: former runner, recent spike that failed, and then a catalyst and a break to the day high. Actually, four things: recent runner, spike that indicates that people are still interested in it and it can still move. Number three, break of the day high. And number four, you have a catalyst. And in this case, it was the Oprah commercials. And all of that leads to a nice spike. And, for all my intellect, for all my experience, I bought it correctly at 1905. And, I sold it in here in the 1930s, not even the 1940s or 1950s or 1980s, because I didn't want the overnight risk. So I have the framework for making successful trades. I did not have the guts on this to hold overnight. Sometimes I hold overnight, and you'll actually see me. I'm really excited to go back to 12,000 next year, because you'll see me forced to have more patience. And that's a good thing, for me. Patience. Obviously, I'm good at cutting losses quickly, which is good not to have patience when you're wrong. But when you're right and when you have a solid setup like this, I wish I could take this trade back. I wish I would have another chance. It's too late now. I definitely would not be chasing it here. $1.50 a share. This spike might fail and might keep going. I don't know what it does here. What I did know was that when it broke the day high here, that fit my formula. And that is my formula, for dip buying. It's pretty cool. I'm also getting a lot of questions about KBIO. KBIO just filed bankruptcy. So my interview with the New York Post right in here when it was in the 40s saying this stock should drop 50%, or that it would, return to being a penny stock was right. So that's kind of cool. All right, the market is going to open in 2 minutes. I know, Jonas, you sent me a long email. I didn't have time to read it. I've had crazy mornings lately. I'll catch up on all of that, but I wanted to get WTW out of the way before the market opens, before the craziness. It might drop, it might go up. I don't care about it right now. But do you guys understand those four simple indicators? That's what I really wanted to get you guys to understand before the markets open. Whether you sell it at 1930s like I did, or 1950s, or 1980s, or 2050s, or 2080s. The point is there's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 cents a share of upside, or $1 or $1.50, or even $2 a share of upside. So just say yes or no if you understand those four simple indicators with dip buying. Good. I'm glad. All right, let's see what else is in play. Vuzi is being pumped by investment research. Sykes. Let me add it to the list. I'm going to take FXCM off the list because FXCM is just scary. Let me save my layout. I'll use stocks to trade on another webinar. I can't deal with that right now. There's a lot to explain and I'm not fully used to it. OHGI is up 27%. This is actually one of my long-term plays, so congrats to those of you who have my long-term newsletter. I was buying it in the 105, 110 range the other day. I'm not going to sell because I think this can still spike a lot in January. But this is my long-term play. And most of the time, these morning spikes fail. So I'm in no rush for this to go anywhere. WTW is the biggest dollar gainer of the day. at the market open. So I would be selling. Let me actually say this. Congrats to WTW overnight longs. I definitely would be selling here at 2060-ish if I had held overnight. Ah! 2060-ish. Alert at 1905. Congrats to so many of you. Oh, by the time I even wrote it, it's 2090. So it just keeps going. But I definitely would be selling into this. While it could spike more, when you're up nearly $2 a share on an overnight play, you take it. Let me just tell that real quick. WTW now 21.15, so I underestimated it yet again. But when you're up that much on a choppy stock, you take it. No questions asked for me. And it just keeps going. This is a short squeeze. But I would not chase it here. This is where you sell into it. Let's see. OHGI is up a little bit. This one is spiking, but I wouldn't chase it. It always fails. I'm up like 20% on my long-term play. I'm not even going to look at my position. I don't want to be tempted to sell. Look at that. There's a 140,000 share seller at 140. It's got volume, but I don't think it's going to necessarily take that out. I wouldn't chase OHGI in the 130s. It never holds its spikes. This time might be the one time, but I'm not risking it. I'm glad I have a long-term position, though. That is the beauty of my long-term newsletter. I'm now up like 35%, maybe 30%. I think my average is 109. WTW keeps going. I'm not tempted. Ears is dropping. Ears I kind of regret because I was shorting that and I wanted, it's such a choppy stock. Yesterday was it broke out to new highs and now today you get the morning panic that I wanted. Ears might actually be a decent dip buy here. Did I get it? Yeah, I got it. Ears, 4.74. Dip buying this play as it's proven it can spike the past few days. All I want is the low fives. Too much on my screen. Oh my God, look at this. By the time you even get the alert, it's at 5. What a choppy stock. I'm sorry about that. I can't control that. This is why I want you guys to, be self-sufficient. If you're buying or shorting, right near the market open, it's going to be really, really tough to get a good execution. All right, 495. That's not bad. What's my average? I am in at 474, 5,000 shares. So, I dip bought it because this stock has proven that it can really ramp up. Each of the past few days, we've had dips. Of course, today could be the one day where there's no dip or there's no bounce. Let's see if there's any news. Some people are hating on it. And I'm going to give it some time. Let's see if it can get back to the fives. You know, it uptrended pretty much all day yesterday. So I have a feeling that it's not the end already, but we'll see. WTW 2177. I'm not chasing it. I don't care. Here's I might double up if it drops some more, just because I think it has some support, and I think this is just some panic selling. I have a small position though, just in case. Never know if you're going to be right or not. OHGI back down to 130, so I'm glad I didn't chase that. Now we have some nice dip buyers here on ears. Let's see if it can hold up. Actually, probably would be adding to my position at 480 right now. If I didn't have to alert every single move, but I don't want to overwhelm my people with 20 buy alerts. It's not always just one buy and one sell. But I like this. It's holding support. It can still go green on the day. I would love to sell this in the fives. Look at this. There's just not a lot of sellers. Years has been a potential short the past few days, but it has always uptrended, so watch out if it can do it again today. If it goes green, shorts panic and dip buyers win. I'll give it some time. The key is, it's red on the day right now. It's down 15 cents a share. The question is, can it go green? I think that it can, but we'll see. Look at this. Just not a lot of sellers. You got some panic selling. Now the bid is stacking up. You can see more buyers here at 79, 78, 80, 81, 84. The question is, can they get it into the 490s? Do people really want to dip buy it, or is this going to be the first down day? I still don't know. But I like how, look at this. Now 484 moves up to 486. Can it get to the 490s? I'm watching and waiting. I have a small position. I have a thesis. We'll see. OHGI is still in the 130s. WTW coming down a little bit. Those are the main two movers that I see. I like this on ears, though. We had some panic, but now we just have. Yesterday we had some panic too. Actually, each of the past few days we had some panic, and every dip was good to buy. Look at this. Now we have more buyers here at 485. I like it. Come on, get to the 490s. Come on, get to the 490s. You know you want it. I mean, it made a late day breakout yesterday above 5. So I have a feeling 5 might be resistance today, but I'm in the 470s, so I protect myself. Look at this. The bidders just keep stacking, keep protecting. Come on, get to the 490s. Give me some bidders at 487, 488. Come on, come on. OHGI is still hanging around there. Let me actually open up another tab. It's got a wall at 140. I don't see how it's going to break that. Oh, look at this. Here's nice bidders at 489. Come on. Oh, come on. You want to get to the 490s. That's weak. I'm out at 484. So that one little thing, I gave it time to get to the 490s, couldn't do it. WTW keeps going. So I'm done with that one. You know, it's out of my head. WTW keeps going. WTW now at 22. Wow. Congrats to longs. I totally underestimated it, but scary for my haters who went short in the low 19s yesterday when I bought. Literally several people trade against me. And, you know, it's okay to underestimate a stock like I did, but to really go against, I don't care. Ears is now coming down to the 470s again because this is a failed bounce. Make sure that I locked in my profits. Yes. I think I made like 500. I don't know. I'll check later. I don't care about money right now. I'm focused on finding new and better plays. Excuse me. Vuzi keeps spiking. INVT had more mailers, but this spike turned out to be a good short. Stone is dropping. I guess I should have shorted that, but it's such a low price thing. I got to take Scone off my watch list. I don't even want to be tempted. Yeah, OHGI and WTW are the two biggest percent gainers that I see. I'm going to give M. Sheldon props. I like this. How do I make it fit? My first ever win. Still too many characters. Stupid Twitter. Just let me get this out. My God. All this editing that I have to do to make it fit. There we go. M. Sheldon. That fits. I'm going to turn to a bit.ly. Please congratulate M. Sheldon. Great WTW trading. His first ever win. Still timed it much better than I did. Freaking awesome. Really, I love this. You know, he made nearly $2 a share. Sold too early also. I don't care. Okay? Did I say Sheldon or M. Sheldon? M. Sheldon. I don't know. MITK is moving, someone says. I got out of that long term the other day for a small loss. OHGI, I don't even want to look at. I don't want to be tempted to sell my long term. I think this could spike more in January. Let me congratulate my long-term people though. OHGI up to the 130s. Nice 25% plus win from my buy the other day. What was my buy? 108. Yeah, like 25%, right? From my long buy the other day at 108. Congrats to my long-term newsletter subscribers. I like it. Ooh, Arturus made $1 a share on WTW. Nice job. Did I link this right? And Sheldon. All right, let me get back. So OHGI, I'm not interested because you have the wall of sellers at 140 and fading volume. Ears, maybe look at this spread. I didn't have to play it so safe. 478 by 497. What do you do with a spread like that? That's insane. There aren't that many sellers. There aren't that many buyers. There's nothing you can do. I probably played that a little too safe, but I really wanted to get to the 490s to have a shot at testing 5 and then maybe going green. Now it's probably just going to be choppy between the 480s, 490s, 470s all day. OHGI, nothing. WTW coming down a little bit. These are the main plays. VUZI, I guess, is breaking out, but this is a stock. It's such a choppy stock. I've never really seen this stock hold its gains. It is a breakout, though, but it's tough. Let me tell people that. VUZI is tough, choppy, never holds its gains. I'm not chasing. Best play of the day so far was WTW, morning spike, or overnight long. I missed both, but glad students are doing better than me. You'll see this quite a bit. If you stick with me quite a bit, you'll see that students do better. The 4.3 million that I've made over, 15 years is such a small tip of the iceberg. That big wall of 200,000 sellers. Yeah, OHGI is going nowhere fast. But I'm still keeping it in my long-term newsletter just because January you will see stocks like this can really, really spike. And I actually bought it not because of today's news. I didn't know today's news, but they said that they're launching a Latin American subsidiary in January. So will it succeed? Will it fail? I don't care. What I do know is that January, these little junky stocks can spike. And, they've already pretty much guaranteed the fact that they're going to have a press release in January. So I'm going to try and hold out for that. My long-term newsletter, short term, I would definitely take the 25% win. Long term, I try and hold on sometimes for bigger wins. OHGI, I am not touching my long-term position. A 25% win is nice, but I'm going for more there given the January effect and how they already announced they'll have a PR in January regarding their Latin American subsidiary. It's going. I'm still not buying it short term. I don't trust it. It's a breakout over 140, but where's it gone? It's up like 2 cents a share. I don't trust it. OHGI new high, but the breakout is just 2 cents a share. Steady stream of sellers. Do not chase this one. It never holds its morning spikes. Remember that. A lot of people are trying to buy this right now because they're like, Tim, it's a breakout. It's a new high. When the breakout is only a few cents, it's not really a breakout. It's a fake out. It could keep going, but I just really don't think that it's got that much upside. I'm trying not to sell my long-term position. I don't want to think about it, but it is tempting. Oh my God, is it tempting? No, no, I have a plan. I got to stick with it. INVT has come back a little bit. There's still more mailers going out, so hopefully this can spike a little bit. Ears, not much of a bounce. You know, I gave it a chance. It was uptrending, but then when it couldn't get to that 490 level, I'm like, nah. You know, I got out at roughly 484. It's roughly 482 right now, so no big difference. But the difference is that it proved that it could not bounce. So when it proves it cannot bounce, I'm sorry, I can't give you more time. I can't give you my money if you prove to me that you can't do it. You know, if you own a diner and your waiter steals from you, you're not going to give the waiter a bonus. You're going to fire that waiter. So you give every stock a chance, but if it's not looking good, you cut that bad employee quicker. You got to think of yourself as a CEO. Look at this wall of sellers on OHGI. Every single penny up is a struggle. It's going up, but I really don't think that it's going to sustain this. Oh my God, I want to sell my long-term position. I'm now up like 40%. OHGI now 147, up a nice 40% from my last week. Trend depletion. It's so tough. It's so tough. I got to give it more time on my long-term position. I got to. It's a small position. I'm going to make like $2,000. I'm just with my small accounts. Like it's not just about the money that I make. I'm trying to show you guys, good rules. I made a few hundred on EARS. I don't care whether I made or lost a few hundred. I went in for a bounce. I didn't get it. I definitely wouldn't be shorting OHGI. I'll tell you that. This thing could run to 2. I'm still not buying it though. Every single penny is a struggle. The whole breakout has been 10 cents a share, mind you. Breakout over the morning highs. Let's see if anyone's been making money. I usually start getting all these crazy tweets. It's awesome. No, nothing so far. Look at these big sellers here at 155. Are there shares to short? I don't want to put a limit of 0.01. No, there's no shares at E-Trade. Let's see if that'd be interesting to be short term and long term. No shares at Interactive Brokers. Let me just protect people. OHGI now 150s. Please do not chase. Every penny a share is a struggle. I would potentially short this even though I'm long in my long-term account. INVT just went green. Good. Let it spike. Let it spike. Let it spike. Let it spike. Oh, let it spike. E-Trade has shares if I ever want to short. Not sure how long that's going to last. Look at that, 78K bidder. That's going to prop it up a little bit. I have to favorite this. I have to remind myself to be patient. I will not look at OHGI. INVT right now is my number one potential trade. It already failed before I could get in. That's a shame. OHGI still holding 150. WTW still holding 22. Here's roughly break even if I was still holding. INVT failed before I could get short. That's a good lesson though for you guys, like the red to green test when a stock fails to be able to go green on the day. That's usually a good sign that the run is over. But I'm not going to chase it down because it could still spike. That's a rather perfect double top at 222. Come on, test it one more time. RWLK fading now. Woozy fading, ears fading, the markets overall fading. Remember, 3 out of 4 stocks follow the markets. WTW fading a bit, OHGI fading, everything's fading. Good. I don't want to be tempted to trade. I want to answer some questions. It's kind of a crazy morning with WTW and OHGI. It's funny, actually, I think I made more off my ears dip buy than I did with my shorts, even though it's such a junk company and all I want to do is short it because of the trend. You know, it's still at 480-ish. I'm watching it on the left-hand side of my screen. INVT is not fading yet. It's funny, sometimes you see this when the overall market fades and you think that the pump and dump should fade the most, and yet it's the pump and dumps that actually hold on. Hold on for one more time. Hold on. No plays yet. INVT looking like it might spike a little. Nope. Let me get rid of my short just in case. I don't want to short this stock. Cancel. Thank you. This, it had a chance to go down and now it's coming up again. Oh, it's got the uptick rule. I didn't even realize that. So I thought that I could short into this 210, but instead I just put my sell right here and it goes on the ask. That's annoying. I think I might get executed. Oh, I'm getting some. Am I getting some? I don't know. Let me see my accounts. I'm 600 short. Where's the rest of my order? Hello? Hello, is this thing on? Am I short? What's going on? Ay, ay, ay. What is going on here? Why am I not getting executed? Ay, ay, ay. Come on. Give me something. Am I short 2,600 shares at 211? Okay. That's a small ass position. INVT 211, 2,600 shares. Shorting this pump on failure to go green today. Goal is to make 20 to 40 cents a share of downside. Pathetic executions by E-Trade as witnessed during my live webinar right now. Do I get any more? Are you going to make a fool of yourself? Yeah, you are. I don't know what happened. I have no idea. Oh, now I have 6,000 shares. That's why sometimes the executions, the position sizes and position prices are wrong, because you can see, I don't know if I get executed, then I do get executed. I guess I'm short 6,000 shares at 211. Not bad. Let me cancel this. I don't know what orders are left. But I just want to cover near the lows, ideally in the ones. So I'll give this some time to fade. But I like that it couldn't go green on the day or stay green on the day. There's always the risk, though, that they can send out more email blasts. So you got to be careful. You can't just take your eyes off an active stock promotion. But I do believe the trend is on my side. Nice downtrend yesterday, attempted spike today. I'd love to cover, if it takes out the day lows. This is a very Tim Grittani-esque type trade, shorting into a failed morning spike. If you watch his DVD. Oh, there we go. Come on, take out 207s. That is still pathetic the way that E-Trade executed that. My first order, got executed actually after my second order. So sometimes I put in two orders. I'm not worried about commissions or fees. You know, if I'm right about a stock, I'm trying to make 10, 20, 30%. I don't care about losing an extra 10 or 20 bucks with an extra order. Some of you guys have been asking me about that. I never think of commissions. I'm always focused, can I try and capture this profit or this potential profit? I'm weird, you know, I don't trade as much as some big traders do. So I'm all about focused on just, can I get the trade executed? Come on, INVT, take out that 207. You got a perfect double top at 222. So that's my risk, roughly 10 cents a share. But if it goes under 2, it should be nice. And we've gradually been chipping away at 207. There goes 207. Now we're at 205. Come on, chip away. I don't like that there are these big buy blocks. You could still have another email promotion, so I'm watching it closely. This might be a all-day watcher until really the trend or the back of these promoters or whoever's buying is broken. But you can clearly see the double top, and this is a promotion. So it's up from 1.35. So if I want 190, I don't think that's too much to ask today. WTW and OHGI both fading. Everything's fading. I like INVT's inability to bounce. Come on, chip away at that 205. It is down from the highs of 280 though, so you have to be aware of where it is. Even though it's a pump and theoretically it should go all the way back, it's also already dropped, 70 cents a share off its highs. So it's not always going to be an easy path on the way down, but I do believe that down is where this is heading. Volume is fading. The only risk is if the promoters send out more email blasts while I'm short, which could happen at any time. And, there are still these big buy blocks. See, it's putting up a fight. So now the buyer moved up to 206 to protect it. To protect 205. I don't know if he moved up from 205 or this is another order. All I know is that it's not going down the way I want. But he could get taken. If there's one ambitious short who wants to short 20,000 shares, that would be fantastic. Yeah, there we go. Speak of the devil. Oh, I should show you this. You got to be able to see the trades happening. See, he's gradually chipping away the buyers. Even though it's going up, he's losing steam. Sure, Mike. Still short just 6,000 shares. Cool. I'm up 160 bucks so far. But the big thing is, can we chip away at this? I'm not interested in making 160 bucks. My goal is never to make 1, 2, 3 cents a share. You also have to remember, I'm a transparent trader, and I have people who like to trade against me. So it would be very easy for someone to squeeze me and just prop this stock up. So I'm always thinking about that. Even though this stock will probably finish down, you got to be careful. Oh, there we go. Nice. I'm glad you saw that, chipping through that big seller, big buyer. Now, come on, take out 204. I would love to get under 2. Very nice. That is very good price action. A little attempted bounce, and then you gradually chip your way through it. Come on. Beautiful. 204. Come on, chip away. 2. Beautiful. Oh, God, this is beautiful. I like it. Now it's gradually fading. Now the day low, 193, comes into play. Can it get down there? Very nice. Very, very, very nice. Come on, get under 2. This gives me much more confidence when it takes out those big holders. Even though I don't, I wish there were more sellers because the spread is still 4 cents, but now it's 1 cent. It'll gradually be cleared up as people begin to realize there's no more buying. And if it gets under 2, I'm very happy. But whoever just bought those 16,000 shares, if this thing starts fading and starts testing the day low, they're going to have to sell those 16,000 shares or 18,000 shares. Oh, we still got some dip buyers. Ugh. I just got out at 204. I'll tell you why in a second. So we saw it dipping. It was acting very nice, and it shouldn't be covered 2,600. It should be covered 6,000. I'll edit that later. Let me make sure I'm fully out. I am. Let's see what my exact cover price was. 204. So I'm in at 211. So I made like 400. You saw me make 2 trades of like 400 each. So once that big bidder flashed at 2, the 20K, and then someone came in with 6K at 201, and now there's 5K at 202, it just means it's going to be like an all-day struggle. Maybe this breaks eventually, but very similar to ears, which if you remember I sold, it's still 476 by 485, 478 by 485. So I could still be up, 3, 4, 5 cents a share. But I really want to try and get away from potentially making or potentially losing 2, 3, 4 cents a share. when it's an all-day kind of battle like that, especially during a live webinar. There's no point in me sitting here for the next hour just watching a stock go up or down 5 cents a share. The question was, could INVT drop big? And it had signs, but when the big bidder came in, it's just not what I want to do. I'd rather answer your questions, So I'm glad you saw, my ears dip by, because I thought there was some opportunity, and there was a little bit. Ears is now what is it? 483 by 486. I'm out at like 484. So worst case scenario, I'm making 5 or 10 cents a share. Or I guess worst case, I'm breaking even, or maybe even losing 5 cents a share. But it's pretty tough to lose money when you're dip buying a momentum stock that has been uptrending. The question was, though, not if I could make 5 cents a share or 10 cents a share. The question was, could it really bounce and squeeze to the fives, and then I'd make 30, 40, 50 cents a share? That was a possibility. When it failed to break above 490, that possibility is now out the window. So I got out. On the inverse side of things, INVT, first down day on a pump, the question was, could we get a really nice panic? I shorted pretty nicely at 211 when it failed to hold going green around 215, 220, or 215, I guess, was green. So I shorted just under a key level with risk of 222, where that was the day high and it double top. So my risk is that I lose 10 cents a share. The potential reward is, can it really drop to, let's say, 193, which was the day low, and I'd be up 20 cents there. And then if it took out the day low, could it get to the 180s or even 170s and really panic, since it's a pump, and I make 30, 40 cents a share. So on both of them, I could have made 30 or 40 cents a share. But there were signs on both of them that prevented me from fulfilling my full profit potential. And that's okay. I made 7 cents on INVT. I made 10 cents on EARS. And, even now, I could hold both of these positions. I'd be up the exact same amount. But I want to show you why to get in, why to get out, and how to, just set up good trades. So people who aren't on this webinar, people who aren't students, they just see my results after the fact. And they're like, oh, he made 5 cents here, he made 3 cents here. He's using his students to make money. He says to buy a stock, all his students buy, and he takes in 3 cents a share. That's not the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is that, I'm aiming for much more. I'm giving it time, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes. Not 5 minutes. Usually if I'm in and out of a stock in 5 minutes, something went really, really wrong. Like I'm buying a breakout and there's a wall of sellers and it can't do anything. I'm trying to take good trades. That's the reality of the situation. And sometimes you have to get out, whether it's due to boredom, or, you have a busy schedule, or when the big profits potential gets taken away from you for the time being. Obviously ears can spike back above 5 at any time. INVT can drop below 2 at any time today. But the odds drop dramatically when you see the price action play out. So for me, I'd rather just get out both of them, make a few hundred. But more importantly, I show you guys how to structure a trade, how to plan a trade, how to get out of a trade, and, try to help you see it all in real time. So let me see some questions. I know that I've been slacking. FXCM is making new highs. I took it off my watch list, but I got to watch. I'm a junkie too. Wow, 24. Crazy. FXCM, nice short squeeze. I would definitely lock in gains longs. This is best case scenario. Congrats. All right, let's get to your questions. Was that useful? Say yes or no if that was useful with you guys seeing my ears dip by and my INVT short sale. You guys like it? Good. That's why I do these things. Throw out some questions. Just start typing them in. I'll get to all the questions now, but I got to work my way back. Let's see. MD Mike says he's a new student and he'll start the new year with 14,000 bucks. Cool. T. Myers says you're a great teacher, Tim. Aw, thank you. Jay Money says, hey, Tim, I'm new to the challenge. I'm looking forward to the life chains. Awesome, Jay. Just study hard. Nick says, what do I think about ATNM? ATNM. I think you mean, no, maybe you do mean ATNM. It's a potential short. It just doesn't move quick enough, really, for me. Yeah, it's a nice potential short. Today's the first red day, but I'd rather be shorting INVT. Let's see. Alicia says, so if OHGI never holds its highs, what is it that you like about it? Well, as I explained, maybe you asked that before I explained, January is when you'll start seeing a lot of these stocks spike just crazy. Like forget, 1.2 to 1.5. Okay, that's a nice little morning spike. In January, these stocks can spike from 1.2 to like 2.2. So I'm trying to have enough patience to get to that. And we already know because the company has teased that they have a new subsidiary, so they're going to have a press release. So I'm trying to have patience for that. I'm not, this is why the long-term newsletter is separate from the challenge. I'm kind of, it kind of sucks that this long-term play spiked during my trading challenge webinar because you guys get confused. You see me up 25, 30, 40% on that play and you're like, Tim, why don't you take it? Because long-term is a different mentality. So that's why we have them separate, We give you guys great deals on the long-term newsletter. So talk with my team if you want in on that. But understand that it's a totally different mindset. So I don't want you to get confused. If I have a short-term position and I'm up 25, 30, 40% on it, I'm going to take it. Yeah. Let's see. Tom Finn said FXCM looks potentially morning panic. Well, Tom, you were totally wrong. It was actually a morning spike. You got to be careful. There's a reason why I took it off my watch list because I don't want to, first of all, I don't want to trade a $20 stock, but also I didn't want to be tempted to short. It was down, and then when it breaks the new day high, it's a skyrocket. So a lot of shorts got scared. Dale says, have you ever noticed any patterns to watch for when trading during the holidays? Yeah. See my Tim Tactics and Tim Raw DVDs, and I go over my holiday patterns, the January effect being one of them. Is CNIT worth revisiting if there's more of a spike? CNIT was always really a potential short for me. It dropped like 20 cents off its highs, so I'm kind of glad I didn't short it. EARS is more interesting to me because this one has proven that it can hold near its highs. So if you're looking for stocks that can spike, you want stocks that are holding near their highs. RLOC, by the way, is interesting. This is another long-term play. I was buying it in the 170s. And it looks like it's going to break out. It's in the 186. They actually upped their earnings guidance. They tripled it. Just basically due to cost cutting, not because the company is good, but this is another potential January effect play. So I'm looking for a lot of January effect plays right now. What do I think about VPCO? These weed stocks never hold their gains. It's got a long way to go. I guess it could pop just because it's, a beaten down stock, so it could be a January play. They're doing a reverse stock split, so maybe they're trying to get it up. I don't know. That's not a chart that I would really want to buy, and it's not up enough to short, and then they're going to do a reverse split. One of my other long-term plays, WKHSD, did a reverse split, and it just keeps going. So I like that one better. DJC says, can you not short stocks under $1 a share on E-Trade? Correct. E-Trade is better for higher price stocks. Interactive Brokers is better for shorting stocks at 1 or 2. Rio SJG says, Tim, I have to say testing stocks to trade is great. I still have some issues, but definitely like it. Glad to be a beta user. Awesome. And any of you guys who want to be a beta tester on stocks to trade, it's only open to challenge students. I forgot to mention that earlier. So you guys get, a little bit VIP entry to our newest project. So definitely email admin@timothysykes.com if you want in on the stocks to trade testing. Dustin made 1,600 on CBIO. Awesome. Did I get mailers for MVES? I don't even look at mailers anymore. I don't have time. I'm only interested, most mailers fail these days. So I'm always just more interested in stocks that are actually spiking. And you don't need to get the mailers for that. You just need to search big percent winners. J Money says, nice call, Tim, on OHGI. I was going to buy right as you said, not to chase, and I took your advice. No trade, no loss. Good. Let's see. Would I buy INVT? I got a funny message. I like responding because I'm not selling you anything. I'm teaching you how to trade. Ignore my rules at your own risk. This guy says, how do I know you're not a pyramid scheme? A pyramid scheme is like where you sell nutritional supplements or shampoos or something, and then you bring other people into the game and you get a 5% cut of their sales. That's a pyramid scheme. What I do is I teach, and you're free to ignore any of my rules, any of my patterns at any time. But I think that you'll find that they actually work and they save you money. But I respond personally when people say that because it's just laughable. I got to make a video on some of these things, some of these questions that I get where people are like, you can't short stocks under $5. It's illegal. You're lying. You're a liar. And I just showed you, E-Trade had shares of INVT. So I'm not a liar. Many people are just incompetent, and I'm going to call them out. Let's see. No shares available of INVT at TD Ameritrade. No shit, because INVT is, kind of a stock that's hard to borrow, and TD Ameritrade sucks. I'm sorry to say it, I was a big fan of Thinkorswim a few years ago, but when they got acquired by TD Ameritrade, they just really began sucking. E-Trade had shares of INVT, as you saw. And I didn't have to cover. It's probably going to crack under 2, but it might just take all day. And there's always the chance that more mailers can come out at any time. So I judge the risk reward, and I got out at 204, which is the exact current price. Let's see. What is the minimum account size to short and with who? E-Trade minimum to short sell is 2,000. In Interactive Brokers, the minimum is 10,000 to open an account, or if you're under 26, they have a loophole where you can open an account for under 3,000. Short Trader is only 500, but they have crazy fees. Plus, there's no PDT rule. Plus, you have execution issues, software issues, platform issues, customer service issues, fees issues, and buy-in issues. So for me, SureTrader is out. They've let me down too much in the past. I'm sorry, but that's for me. I understand a lot of you guys are international and you can't afford interactive brokers, so SureTrader is like your only option. Just don't have high expectations. Don't even get me started. Nigerian brothers mentioned FXCM as a trade on the long side. Good job. Yeah, I mean, SureTrader is the only option really for a lot of people. You know, I wouldn't say never use them. Some people, you know, that's your only option. If you can't afford interactive brokers and E-Trade doesn't let you in because of your geography, which I think is ridiculous, you know, these are the top 3 brokers that have shares to short. So for me, I want to be able to short stocks like INVT. So unfortunately, those are the options right now. What route did I short this through? I don't pick routes. I don't give a shit. I just keep it on auto. You know, I'm not trading big ass positions trying to shave a half a penny or save on fees or something like that. I just want my trade to get executed. That's why I shorted INVT auto. Cash Frash says Australians cannot short at interactive brokers. E-Trade is only for U.S. residents. Are there any other options other than SureTrader? No, not at this moment. I'm sorry to say. I wish there were more. So a lot of questions in FXCM. I don't know. Once a stock becomes $20, $30, I really am not tempted to trade it. You know, it's just too actively traded, too actively debated. There's no real edge. Tom Finn says, Tim Fundamentals Part 2, you use percent gainers to build your watch list. For longs, do you use percentage losers for potential shorts? Nope. I use percent gainers for potential longs and shorts. Just study my DVDs. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel. A lot of people like look for new things. And you're trying to think. Stop trying to think and just listen. Percent gainers are all that I care about. The question is, why is it up? If it's an earnings winner, if it's an Oprah ad, that's a potential buy because that you have a billionaire or you have earnings. If it's a pump and dump like INVT, then the percentage gain is probably temporary. That's how I view the market. That's it. I keep it very, very simple. Are you keeping an eye on potential FDA phases that come out tomorrow? No, I don't try and anticipate FDA at all. Can you show me how to check for shares in IB and E-Trade? Sure, with E-Trade, I'm sure there's a way, but usually I just put in, you know, I'm about to put in an order and I click short and I place the trade. I put my limit at 237 because I don't want to short it. It's at 205, so I just put the limit way above the price. Oh, look, you cannot short sell INVT at this time. So before I could short INVT at E-Trade, but now shares have dried up. And, you know, it's at 204 by 205, but you have big bidders here at 202. So let me tell the chat room real quick. E-Trade out of shares to short of INVT. They go quick, but I'm glad I'm not short anymore since there's a wall of buyers at 2-ish and the promoters can easily still squeeze people with more promo emails being sent. So I'm glad I'm out. You know, it's still at the exact same price that I got out at. So I didn't have to be so quick, but I anticipated this kind of choppiness. I'm glad I spent the last 20 minutes answering your questions rather than being in a stock that's gone nowhere. That's the beauty once you become experienced. It's not just about trying to understand what a stock will do up or down. It's about understanding the price action and seeing, what kind of price action is going to be. Is it going to be a big potential win, or is it going to be flat? And, if you understand level 2 and the charts and risk and everything, then you can kind of understand what price action is going to be like. Let's see. KBIO, it didn't open today. Is that due to the bankruptcy filing or appeal date? I don't know. I don't care. I don't worry about stocks that I'm not short or that I can't trade. When are you coming to Sydney? Soon. 2016. I definitely have to visit Australia. BSW is short VUZI at 745. Yeah, you're up 10 cents. I just don't see that much upside. It's tough to short a choppy, boring stock like that. Drinkman says, for this year, I'm concentrating only on 2 setups that work for me. No more playing multiple setups. Welcome to my life, buddy. Alicia says, I understand the concept to cut losses quickly, but I didn't realize how quickly you exit a trade until I saw your exit on ears. Yeah, ears wasn't a loss. And neither was INVT, but I'm looking for specific things to happen. With INVT, I was waiting to see 206 and 207 get chipped away. We got it. And then there was a wall of buyers at 2 and 201 and 202 and 203. So I'm waiting for price action, but if I don't get it, then I'm out. And with ears, we got a little bit of a bounce. The panic stopped. But then I was looking, it's got to get to the 490s. I thought that 5 might be resistance, as it's been resistance the past few days. So if 5 is resistance, then it should be able to get to the 490s and at least retest 5. But when it couldn't get to the 490s, I'm out. And it cost me a few cents in both cases. On INVT, I easily could have covered at 201 if I had my orders ready when, 206 got taken out and made an extra 3 cents a share. But I'm never looking to make just 10 cents a share. And the same thing with ears. It didn't get to the 490s. I'm out at 484. If I had timed it, I could have probably gotten 488, 487 and made, 13 cents a share. But that was never my goal. So when I make 5 or 10 cents a share, that's not my goal. That's what non-students and outsiders don't get. Something has gone wrong with level 2. Something has gone wrong with my thesis, so I get out. In WTW, everything was going right with my thesis. I just made a judgment call that I didn't want to hold overnight with overnight risk. And as it turns out, I should have held overnight. But I made the same judgment call the day before on RWLK. I didn't want to hold overnight, and that worked. So RWLK was a profit. WTW was a profit. EARS was a profit. INVT was a profit. So my rules seem to work, not for huge profits, but consistent and safe. So that's what I teach. Tim, any reason for today's slow market? I don't know what you're looking at, but I see half a dozen plays. So I don't think it's a slow market. I think your expectations are just screwed up. So smack yourself in the head 42 times, and that'll be your apology. What would you look for in price action to short INVT again? I would want it to come back to 220-ish and fail again. I would want that. I'm not going to try and short it here mid-range where the day high is 220 and the day low is 193. It's 13 cents a share off its day low and 15 cents off its day high. So it's exactly mid-range. And I don't short stocks mid-range. KBIO trading gray. What does that mean? You have the pink sheets and the gray sheets. And that's just one of the exchanges. Stylist says, I emailed your team right on the day you mentioned about stocks to trade. I signed the usage agreement, but still haven't gotten access. Stylist, email again and write urgent in the headline. Say urgent challenge student. If you ever have any questions, and don't abuse this privilege, but if it's something that we didn't email you back on or whatever, write urgent challenge student. and then you're a VIP email. So I'm sorry, sometimes we get behind. How do we subscribe to the long-term newsletter? You subscribe right here, Timley/Timlong. Or if you go to Timley Holiday, you'll see a sale on Small Cap Millionaire, which is my long-term newsletter, and you can take advantage of that. Trading Day says, going through Tim fundamentals, building watch list, do you still use the same building process? Yes, always. You know, I've refined my process to just focus on big percent winners. Let's see. WTW could have a good January effect. I think WTW is a long-term play. No and no. January effect plays, sorry to be so mean about it. January effect plays are stocks that are near their lows and beaten down, and they spike in January due to tax loss selling. A stock that has recently quintupled or octupled is not a January effect play. It very well could do well in January, but it's not a January effect play. And you think it's a good long-term hold, you have no idea if Oprah is going to help sales or not. Do not try and be long-term thinking or trying to think what a business is going to do or not do over the long term. So both of you guys are wrong. I'm sorry. Would I short FXCM? I wouldn't touch it. Is AMDA a short? No, it's an 11-cent a share stock. I don't short 11-cent a share stocks, and that actually is a January effect play. That's the kind of chart. Let's see. How do you get into stocks to trade beta if you're a challenge student? Again, email admin@timothysykes.com and write in the headline urgent challenge student, and my team will get back to you. Do not abuse that. If too many of you do that, then there's going to be some serious repercussions. So only say urgent if it is urgent. Need to open brokerage account. Is Interactive Brokers better all around? Yeah, pretty much. Every single speaker at my Vegas conference this year had an Interactive Brokers account. That'll tell you something. Do you think WRES may do a reverse split to meet NASDAQ? I don't care. I don't try and guess news. I react to it. Tim never takes a day off. Correct. There's so much to teach. So much. Been looking at Rovi as a potential short, but shows a lot of support at 1550. Rovi also, FYI, I was looking at shorting this just because of three big green days. Now it's dropped, $1.50 off its highs. They also signed a deal with Sony. So it is up for a good reason. INVT is now under 2. So I guess I theoretically should have given that more time. But only 4 cents a share more than where I covered, so no biggie. Let's see. Tim, why did WTW drop so far in the last 2 weeks? Because it's up from 6. You got to put everything in perspective. It's dropped $6 a share off 27, but it's up from 6. Tax purposes question, I have no idea. Ask your broker, ask your accountant. Everyone has different tax issues. I don't know about Canadian versus U.S. residency, tax purposes, broker accounts. Ask the brokers and ask the tax people. If there are no plays in the AM, do you walk away and come back? I have a pretty crazy schedule, so I'm always just checking in whenever I can for potential plays. Can I look at BLDP, contract extension with the Army? That's cool, except they're alternative energy. And when oil's so cheap, it's tough for alternative energy to really get excited about, especially after this kind of a run-up. INVT continues to fade. IMVT continues to fade. Pump may be over. Congrats to shorts, but I won't chase trying to get back in. Only short into spikes for me. Probably could have played that a little better, but again, I'm not going to waste 30 minutes watching a stock that does nothing when I can answer 100 questions. Did he just say slap yourself in the face 42 times? Yes, I did. That is the punishment when you make some kind of comment that's wrong. And I don't mean bodily harm. Some people actually take it like so personal. I got an email from this lady, and she's like, "How dare you tell me to slap myself in the face? You're advocating violence." I'm like, "Come on, I'm joking. Get over it." If you're going to get offended by that, we're going to have a rough time as teacher and student. I joke a lot. I'm sitting in front of a freaking laptop watching little flickering green and red buttons all day long. So most traders lose their minds. If you ever look at the humor or personality of most big traders, they're all weird as shit. So you got to deal with that. Let's see. What do I think of UHLN? Nice uptrend, terrible volume. That's it. Tim alerts and penny stock and silver increases next year. Those subscriptions are included in the challenge. What happens to us when we end up renewing? We'll give you a deal. We'll honor current prices. It's mainly just to weed out a lot of people who've been signing up and they just want hot stock picks. You guys who are challenge students, you've already proven you want education, and that's awesome. So we'll reward you for the rest of your life. Dustin says, I normally find about 2 to 3 stocks on my watch list, can follow my plans from the previous day. Would you say this is pretty typical for successful traders? It's pretty typical for me, and I'm a successful trader. But I'm weird compared to other traders. Most traders have like 5, 10, 20 positions at a time, and they win some and they lose some. I don't know how to do that. I am totally self-taught with my weird little strategy, and it works for me, and I'm glad it works for a lot of students now too. But if you talk to a lot of big traders, they're like, what the heck kind of strategy is this? Penny stocks? Short selling? 1 or 2 positions? Like, it's just so out of left field for most traders. That's what I found. And I think that's probably why it works, because it's not the norm. Romanian traders at most recent trades are moving the way I want after I get out. Any suggestions? Exit only half next time. Don't exit the full position. See how they play out. When looking at a stock's chart, you time periods you prefer to look at. I look at all of them. Mostly intraday, 1 day, 5 day, 10 days. The longer the time period, the less influence it's going to have, A lot of you guys are asking for Twitter recommendations and good biographies. If you guys ever look for or want to look for, come on, who likes this? Only 9 people like this. More of you guys need to like this. Come on, give this guy some props. Everybody like and retweet this and favorite it. My God, a student freaking makes $2 a share. You got to support him. You got to be more supportive of each other when you really nail something. It doesn't matter your position size. It's about learning. And if you can make $2 a share on a trade, that's awesome. But anyways, if you have any book issues, 14 now. Come on, get it up to 20. I'm going to keep refreshing until this hits 20. These are the games I play. 17 likes. Come on, give it to 20. 18. We're not going to move on until we get over. There we go. We're at 20. 21. Good job. If you go to investimonials.com, books. Oh my God, a big long URL. If you ever want more books, you go to investimonials.com/books, and it's pretty freaking awesome to see, what other books there are. 69 Pontiac says, I wish this challenge was available 10 years ago before I had this many kids. I hear you, buddy. I have a puppy, and that's a lot. I can't even imagine this many kids. Starless says, if there was a previous big move on a chart, I don't know what a previous big move means. See the news and SEC filings to get an idea. Oh, previous. I'm like, what is pervious? Is this a word that I should know? It sounds like a very shady word. You're sounding very pervious. Yeah, previous catalysts are always good to know. Is AVXL still a number 6 pattern? It's dropped like $2 a share, so it was a good number 6 pattern. I probably should have shorted it. Cash for Ash says, I'm trying very hard to concentrate, but due to flu, everything you say sounds Greek to me. Focus on getting better. You can't trade if you're sick. I want to say like 2 or 3 years ago, I had my biggest loss of the year when I was trying to trade with a temperature. I was shorting PEIX, and I was like, this is such a piece of crap. And I turned out to be right, as I usually am. But I shorted too big, too soon, and I lost like 40 grand. And the next day I made back like 20. But overall, I still lost 20 grand. And I was trading with a temperature. So do not trade when you're sick. INVT still below 2. OHGI coming down to the 120s. AVXL keeps going down. Vuzi not doing much. EAR's still at the same spot I bought it. Really, the best plays were to buy WTW, to buy FXCM, and to short INVT. Those were today's best plays. I got 1 out of 3. And I was on the right track with WTW yesterday. So 1.5 out of 3. Not bad. Thoughts on CBIO? It is a good short. Good job. That's a good shorting pattern. But I want it to spike more, and I want more volume. Aspiring smart guy says, I'm trading from a hotel room in my bathrobe and made me think of you at the seminar. Cool. I'm in a bathrobe right now, too. Next year, with your new account, how much will you use on any one trade? Well, wait 2 days and you will see. GSI, is this a confirmed pump? Usually 3-letter tickers aren't pumps. They're real companies. But this one looks like it's up quite a bit. This is a kind of a stock that I want to short, so good spot. Let me take off AMID from my watch list because that's doing nothing. Let me do some research on that and get back to you. I got to get going. I'm exhausted. But thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be in the chat room in a little bit, but I got to take a little nap. It's midday and I'm just tired. There's no other way to say it. Thank you again. I'm glad that you guys liked the live trading. Nothing huge, but good lessons. Thank you. See you in the chat room in a bit.
My name is Tim Sykes, and I teach people to trade stocks. I am a self-made multimillionaire.
So this is the ideal trade that I'm going to talk about. I want you guys to understand every single aspect of this trade.